Today's topic is very interesting, and I think we have started long way to come to this stage, and maybe you guys are looking for what is the essence of this topic. In fact, essence of the Gita, I can say that. So let's go back and recap first, so then we connect easily. So the last week we talked about the Vishwarup Darshan, the chapter 11. That's where we talk about Krishna reveals the universal form in front of Arjun, and he has cleared all the doubt, and he has seen the Krishna as in a different form and universal divine supreme Lord form. That makes him thinking different way. And also we have seen that he's now no more seeing as a friend. Now he's little bit feeling that fear, and he apologized that if he has done any mistake, so please forgive me. And later on Krishna says the important part about that regardless, he's by showing his true form, universal form of Supreme Lord, he said that I can fight this war without you also, and I don't need you. So you are the medium, you are the instrument. So make sure that he understand that. And that's what we need to understand, that we are all the instrument by some way or other way. Sometimes we think that someone else is helping us, or someone else is creating opportunity for us. Everyone is playing this all part, and we are all instrument of the divine, and it's like a demand and supply generated by the universal law. So he said this very important aspect here that we need to learn. So that's where Arjun is already like convinced that yes, I want to fight it. And so as a student, we need to be very opportunistic. So every time you get an opportunity, we need to be grab this, regardless thinking why and who and why this is trying to helping me and why I should help and all these things. So this is the takeaway from this chapter. And same time Krishna reveals that only bhakti at the last verse, that is the means he can attain the universal form. What he has seen, what Arjun has seen, and that can be seen only by devotion. So in that sense, Krishna lead that gap, that the next is the bhakti. So now he stopped that only devotion, and that only using the bhakti you can see me. This what you are seeing this form. So as of like person like me and you and all of us in this planet Earth, if we want to experience this universal form, that's what Krishna revealed, that secrets in a way, that bhakti yoga or the bhakti is the only one with the using the devotion. We can feel, you can see, and we can hear his universal form. So let's start by understanding what he's trying to talk about bhakti. So yeah, so bhakti, in fact, today's topic is very timely set. Bhakti yoga, yoga of devotion, yoga of love. And today is a Valentine Day here also. So I wish you all of you a happy Valentine Day. And our true Valentine, we can celebrate with the divine, nothing like it. Because that is the true love, a pure love, without any expectation, without any worldly things, without any protocol. That we need to feel it, that we need to see it, and we need to learn it. So this is what we need to aware and take away this beautiful and I can say auspicious day. Okay, so in this, it's very straightforward. This is This chapter is the essence of the Gita. Why I'm saying essence? Because if you see, this is the shortest chapter in the Gita, only 20 verse. Arjun asked only one question, and throughout a 19 verse, Krishna asked, give the answers. And all the answers are very, very straightforward that you and me can understand. With only one hidden condition, if you are trying to use your intellect, your mind, your logic, then you will have a difficulty. But you use your heart and try to understand what Krishna trying to say. In fact, don't try to understand. I recommend try to feel it. Same like how you feel your love. When you see first time, how you fall in love. You don't know you are meeting that person every day, and somehow one day you realize that you like him, and then the likes become love. That transition of liking to love, that you don't know, and that happens. Similarly, the meditation also, it will happens that way. You don't know, but you are already in a meditative state. You cannot say, I want to love, or I want to do a meditation. You can set, oh, maybe you like it, but it will happen. What we need to do, if you like someone and you want to fall in love with someone, you just need to be surrounded by them, surrounded by him at the company 24/7. Then automatically you will fall in love. Simple as that. We have a proverb in my mother tongue that if you see donkey every day, you will fall in love with donkey also. And it is true. You try that. Not only donkey or not only person. Maybe you see any of the chair or sofa or any object or t-shirt or any useless object. If you see every day, if you feel every day, if it is in front of you every day, you will fall in love. That's how easy and simple to fall in love with divine. We have to be available 24/7 by some way or other way, and then it will happen. And once that is happen, you know the trick, you know the secrets. Right now you are connecting me with a different time zone, different country, different place, different device. That you are taking effort, and you are putting that whatever way it comes in with you. Someone is driving, someone is sitting, someone is waiting for the computer, whatever you are doing. So you are making effort and you are available for this time. Now same thing, we would like to available with the divine, but using the bhakti and the devotion, and that is exactly the devotion. If you ask, don't we need to go into a nitty gritty or the technicality of the devotion? The devotion is as simple as mother is available for the child, the father is available for the child, the friend is available for the friend, the guru is available for the teacher, the students, all the time. So 24/7, whenever you feel like you want to talk to someone, oh, then you call it, or you video call, or you want to meet up for the coffee without any reason, without any agenda. You feel comfortable and you want to be that. That is nothing but a devotion. That is nothing but a bhakti we are doing, but we are giving a different label. So try to feel this. What are the certain conversation is happening, rather than try to think and contemplating this word. Because if you hear with your heart, you will see amazing feeling. You will feel it. So first verse 1 to 12, Krishna is explaining the difference between the formless and the form, or the physical form of the divine, and which is the great, which one we should do a bhakti. And 13 to 20, he is giving the characteristics of the God realized devotee. So if you want to become that devotee, we need to, he's giving the characteristics. Simple as that. And guess what? Out of, let's say, 20 characteristics, maybe we can already pass. The passing mark is almost, we can achieve 9 or 10, is maybe 50%. We already have that at this point of time. We just need to work on the another 50%. So we already passed, but we need to make a little bit more effort to understand, or we need to just refine our qualities, our intensities, our mindset. Then we are already there. So it's so easy and so simple in that sense. So what is the essence of this? The essence of this: absorb your mind and heart to the higher Supreme Lord. So this is the key. We need to put our mind and heart to the higher Supreme Lord. That is nothing but a bhakti. So let's see what we can do this. So in the starting itself, Arjun asked the question, because he has already, in a past verse, we have seen that Arjun has fascinating about seeing the Krishna's universal form, and he's more fearful, he is more excited, he is more amazed by that wonderful, amazing form of the Krishna. He has seen the physical Krishna as a friend, a physical form. Now he has seen Krishna has shown up as the formless and mix of all the form and formless Brahman form. So indirectly, he doesn't have a doubt, but he has a very clarity. He asked the question that those who are steadily devoted in your personal form, or those who are worshipping your formless Brahman, which one you consider the best? Which one we should follow? He asked Krishna very simple question. So he asked, in a way, he's asking for us that, are we going to, which one is the best for us? We want to do a bhakti or the in a personal form, or in a formless Brahman that we can't see, we can't imagine, we can't feel it from the senses, and which one will be the more perfect? So the Krishna says, now the answer is very interesting, and he not only he gave the answer, very surprisingly he is explaining one by one, very systematic way. Can you guess what will be the answer? Any guess? Which one Krishna suggests, a physical form to do a devotion, or the maybe a formless Brahman that we can't see the. So he said that personal form is more appropriate and more easy and more better to do a bhakti. So let me explain what there is a contemplation about it. So Krishna said, he said indirectly, but then he revealed the step by step the reality. He says that those who fix their mind on me, always engage in my devotion with steady faith or shraddha, I consider them to be the best yogi. So in that sense, he's talking about the physical form, that those who attend me and always engage me. It's same like how your girlfriend or boyfriend wants to have 100% attention from you, that you see me only, you don't think about any girls, you don't feel about any girls, you have to, in your mind, you have to see me every time, how I look, how I dress when you go to see. So this is the soul, 100 times 100% your concentration, your time, your attention is asking the divine in the personal form. Now we need to understand this little bit different way. So Krishna just give this simple answers, but let me explain how we need to understand this personal form. And What are the formless aspect of the divine? So there are three types of so-called God, or the manifestation of the God. For example, first we call Brahman. We already discussed all these three, by the way, in a different chapter. But let me put it together so that we are recollecting again. So again, these are the three. They are not a different God, a different divine. This is the same divine, a same energy in a different form. So the first form is the Brahman, the formless, that is pervading manifestation God. Everywhere where you see it, wherever we discuss about that, all the matter has the energy, all the elements has the five elements. So there is a movement, there is an energy, there is a vibration everywhere. That is called Brahman. So whatever you see, what all the universe, all the creations, that is the one element is called Brahman. This is the formless. That can, why it is a formless, they can take any shape of a chair or the tree or the insects or anything, whatever we see that. So this is a Brahman form, a formless. Second form is called Paramatma. The Paramatma is the supreme soul that is seated inside our heart. Every individual living being's is heart, but it is in a hidden form. It's a distinct from the individual soul. So that's why we need to put it effort to realize that. That's why we need a self-realization or the self-knowledge to know, to introduce our soul to that supreme soul. And interestingly, that is reside in everyone's heart, not mine, heart. Okay. And the third one is called Bhagwan or Bhagwan. It is a personal manifestation form that is descend upon the earth in a human body. Now, this is where we can relate easily, because we are very used to with the human, because we are very using our senses, and we like to feel the touch, we like to hear, we like to talk, we need to interact. So we are including that formless form, we have a difficulty to understand, but it is very easy to understand as a human form. Later on we will discuss each form differently. So for example, if you have a thirst, what you want to have, the water is the better form, not the ice. But the both is the ice come from the same element, same water. So the ice is the more hard element, the physical form that we can feel, we can touch it. So water is the more different form from that subtle form. The ice is the more gross form. So when you talk about Bhagwan, is the personal manifestation God that is descend upon the earth. And that's what actually Krishna talk about, is a personal form. We should fall in love with it, or it will be easy to attain that. Now let's see what we try to understand this three form. Now all these three form of Brahman, Paramatma and the Bhagwan, you can be realized, it can be realized with a different way of yoga: Gnana Yoga, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. So you can manifest. Only the difference is some path is very, not for everyone. Some path is required little bit of hard work. Some part is required little bit about easy way or different form of eligibility. So to give that example, to experience this different types of God, let's understand one example. So if you are standing middle of the train track, and you will see that maybe let's say 1 kilometer far from you, the train is coming. So you don't see the train obviously from 1 kilometer far, but what you will see is, maybe you will see the only the two lights, only the light is coming, and then you will see that okay, the train is coming. You are imagining, but you will see only the light. The more the train is coming near to you, closer to you, then you will see, oh yeah, this is the train and this is how it is. And the moment the train comes into the platform, then you will see that, oh, this is the characteristics of the train, this is the physical body of the train, these are the passengers, this is the how the facilities inside the train. So you will see all the properties about the train is very easily the moment it's coming very closer to you. So similarly, the divine or the God also like this. Initially, you will see very far and a feeling that is nothing but a Brahman. The more closer you go, that is, you are feeling in a form of your heart. You are feeling in a form of your love. You are feeling on in a form of the feelings that is from inside. That is a Paramatma. And the moment you come very near and it's stable, then you can feel and touch and you will see the properties of that Bhagwan. That you will manifestation will happen. So let's try to understand more these three. So in a Brahman form is the formless, that we are aware of it, the universal divine or universal God. So it is like a light. It doesn't have any, we call nirgun. It doesn't have any shape, don't have any form. So it says nirgun, nirvivesh, and nirakar. So without any qualities, there is no qualities. Now, what are the qualities? It is beyond gunas. You know, rajas, sattva, and tamas, the tendencies of the mind. So the Brahman, the true Brahman is beyond the qualities. So that's why it won't caught into the quality. So if we want to experience this Brahman, we need to go beyond our gunas. Then you can achieve it. So it's the same like if you want to meet Prime Minister or if you want to meet someone else, you need to have an appointment. You need to know whom to contact. It's not easy for the lay person to go and just anyhow you can phone or you. So you need to have some channel and you need to have a prior appointment and then you need to go beyond that. So similarly, this formless Brahman, if you want to experience, you need to go beyond we also have to go beyond our qualities. Nirvivesh, attributes, without attributes. So we need to let go all our physical or human attributes, emotional attributes. Then we can lift up. And nirvikar, without form. So we have to see ourselves in a different form. We need to be merged with the different form. We need to meditate in the different form. Then we are able to see and feel the Brahman and experience the Brahman, which is look like a difficult task. Because as I said, if you 1 kilometer ahead, if you see the train light is coming and you want to experience the train, you want to see the train, you want to describe the train, it is very likely impossible. So this is exactly like you are trying to define from your intellect. And that's why this is only possible those who have a very good knowledge, wisdom, intellect, and those who are in a Gnana Yoga path, they can see this aspect very well. They like to see this aspect very well. So those who want to achieve, those who have a pure that intellect and wisdom and that awareness about the knowledge, they are choosing this Gnana Yoga path and they are try to achieve and look for this Brahman experience through their intellect. That's why it's a Gnana Yoga. So this is also one of the path, but this path is little bit difficult. So this is also one way you can experience the divine. Now second path called Paramatma, just now we discussed, that is reside everyone's heart. So we no need to look for it. So this is something better than is like the train is already coming into a, let's say only a few meters away. So at least you can feel it. You can feel the experience. You can feel the vibration. You can feel that sound. You can see that you can hear about the peoples. You can see that the movement. So you already sensitizing yourself. You will feel the shimmering. So this you can experience by a practice of Ashtanga Yoga. That means Raj Yoga, the systematic yoga of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. So using that systematic approach, you can be inverted in self, and then you can experience the Paramatma, the supreme soul behind that. So you are revealing, so you are, it's like an onion. You are removing the one layer, another layer, another layer, and then you are seeing yourself. And then you will feel the God is within me, the divine is within me. And you are experience a full joy in your heart. You are not creating any new experience, by the way. The experience already within you, but you are experiencing because it is hidden by the different gunas, different mindset, different perception, different emotions. So then in a systematic approach of Ashtanga Yoga or Raja Yoga, you are revealing. By practicing Kriya, you are manifesting, you are cleaning yourself. By practicing Pranayama, you are channelizing your breath. So using the breath as a tool, using the sound as a tool, using the mantra as a tool, you are inverting. So what you are doing every time from the childhood till now, we learn about to focus outside. And this Ashtanga Yoga, it is helping us to put our attention inside, other way around. And instead of focus outside, we are focusing inside. In fact, we are defocusing inside. So once you are going inside, your manifestation will happen. You know that you are a part of it. So this is how another way is also you can achieve the divine. Now, this is where in a coming verse we will see in verse 18, that is the last chapter, Krishna already told Arjuna that Supreme Lord is residing everyone's heart in a living being. So that is already he said very carefully in that. So this is nothing but a Paramatma he is mentioning. So this is also one way you can achieve. And the third one is the Bhagwan, the personal manifestation of the God who's descending to the earth. Now this is where we may get lost sometimes, or we may have a doubt. So we need to understand what is this form of all about and whom to feel it. So this personal form is soul of all souls descending upon the earth and his personal form. We call it in Vedas, it call it as an avatar. So let's say Krishna is also avatar, Rama is also avatar. So different time to time, even the Krishna says we already learn in the previous chapter that whenever there is a adharma is happening, the injustice happening, I will take as an avatar and I will take the human form of the body. And then, so this is the form he's talking about. The majority, this God is manifestation in all the sweetest, his name, in the form and the qualities, Adobe, past tense, associates, you will feel that. So this is where the train is coming to the platform and you can feel, you can touch the train. You can feel the train. You will see inside the train. You can smell the train. You use your all sensual object, sensual senses, and you can feel it. This is where the bhakti is coming. This is where the devotion is coming, because when you can see it, you can feel it. So it is easy to recognize, easy to, without any judgment, because what you see is what you get. Simple as that. So if you have a laptop, new phone, you just has to see and you have to feel it. And the more you play around, it's like a kid. You give a 5-year-old kid an iPhone and just open up, unlock the phone. You will be surprised they know how to operate. Why? Because they're using the devotion. They're using the bhakti, because they just, you give that physical form of the divine or physical form, the iPhone, and they just playing around by trial and error, and then they fall in love. There is no hidden agenda. They don't know what will going to happen if I press this or that. So that's why they are learning very fast, and they fall in love with very fast, and they can operate very fast because the form is in front of them, and there is no fear, because they are attached with that form. They are having that form, that the form is there, so I don't need to worry about it. And that is the reason, if you see, majority hackers, the IT hackers, they are all teenage. why they are teenage have a more hacker, and they are the best hackers? Because they don't have a fear of loss. They just go and play around and they hack. If we try to learn the hacking, we have a difficulty because we will worried. We know the consequences. Oh, this data will go, or this will happen, or this system will corrupt, or I may be the sued by the company or whatever. But they don't feel it because they go and they play around with the object. They play around, they want to do what they like it. So we need to aware about this. So this is a path of the bhakti. That's where the form is physical form or the personal form is there, and you attend with that. Now we need to be aware. We need to know more about this. So Krishna is talk about this form, and this is the easiest form of bhakti. We can attain him because we can relate day to day life. We can relate all those things. So that's why it is very easy, and this is the only loving devotion I can be in a personality where you can know me. This is what he said. So let's try to understand more. So, and he did explain the second verse. The further next verse, Krishna explained the formless aspect of the absolute truth. So that means he's talk about the Brahman. So he never denied that the other two form you cannot attain me, by the way. But Arjun asked which one is the best. So he said the best is the personal form, the Bhakti Yoga. That doesn't mean that Brahman or the Paramatma or the formless you cannot attain me. But it is difficult. Now, why is the Brahman form, a formless form, is difficult? As I said earlier, that the train is coming from the 1 kilometer away from you. You can see only the light, and then someone say, can you describe me about the train? Then it is not easy, because you need to know more about the train first. You need to know the country, you need to know the city, you need to know the weather, you need to have a prior idea about the train. Then it is very easy for you that. So why it is difficult? Because our body, our mind is, we are habituated interacting with the forms since we born till now. We like to play around with the form, a physical form, the material form, and our mind and intellect will conceive only the form. So when anything is the form, we are very easy to be elaborated, or we can explain very well. But if the moment it is going formless, then it is getting challenging. And that's where we need to be aware. And that's why we sometimes go and caught into the uh, fantasy. So in order to understand that formless, we need to have a really good understanding and knowledge. And that's where the Gnana Yoga, the Vedas can help us. The true Gurukul or the true school of the Vedas can explain about the systematic approach of this Gnana Yoga. But it's not easy. Now, another interesting example you can see that why the formless Brahman is difficult. We need to understand this. If you observe, maybe in a Discovery Channel or the National Geographic, if you see the monkey baby and the kitten, this is where you will understand why the formless Brahman to worship is difficult. So if you see, the baby monkey is holding the mothers, and the monkey is jumping one branch to another branch. So while monkey is busy in jumping one tree to another tree, one branch to another branch, the baby monkey, what she's doing? She's holding the mother as tight as possible. Understand that. So who is responsibility? If it's the baby's responsibility, the baby is little bit loosen up, then she can fell down. And then mother is not taking care here. Monkey mother, she is busy in jumping one branch to another branch. Now in other side, if you see the kitten, if the kitten or the cat has to move their baby from one place to another place, she will holding with her mouth using the neck, and then she's carrying the baby. and putting it to another set. I'm not sure if you have seen that. So this is how the mother cat is taking care of the baby and putting this. So when you see the monkey baby, that is the Brahman form, that we have to take effort and make sure that we need to hold very high and then to understand the formless. But when we are in a formless, in the personal form, the divine is taking care of us like how the cat is taking care of the baby. So what is happening in the personal form? In personal form, we will get a quality of the grace, which is the most important element of the divine. So it will unite without the attributes. So in a Brahman form, there is no grace because it's a universal form, it's a formless. While the personal form of the God, you will have a grace that we talk about. Because of the grace, and not only the grace, we will have a compassion and the mercy, because this is how the physical form works. So for us is very easy to, if we do any mistake, also we can rectify, because someone is there to be corrected, someone there for us to holding our hand like a baby to move to another side. Someone is giving their grace, that availability, their time, their devotion, their love. So that is like how the mother is building up the child and nursing the child from the first 1 year to the 5 years or the 7 years throughout the adult age. They are there, the parents are always there. So the divine in a personal form is always there for us, for the devotees. This is the best you can get it from the divine. So this is the advantage of the personal form. This advantage of the grace and the compassion and mercy you won't get in a formless Brahman, because this is how it is. You are capturing from the mind. So that in that sense, Krishna says that formless Brahman to worship is difficult and not for everyone. But the personal form is for everyone, because we can easily fall in love with anyone. It's just the matter of we need to know how and when, and we need to understand that. Okay. Then Krishna says again, he says repeatedly, so many times we heard about in a previous chapter also, that his devotees can reach him quickly by personal form of God, object of their devotion. So the devotion is the key. Just talk about that, focus their mind and senses upon him. All our senses and mind, you just fully focus on him. Continuously offer the hearts in interrupted bhakti without any disturbance. You need to have a devotion and bhakti towards him, and you need to have a communication 24/7 all the time. Now communication in a form of this breath, in a form of the remembrance, in a form of the working way, we need to be keep thinking about him. This is how you are thinking about your wife, your children. If your children is in at home and you are working, you are outside, you are calling your maid, you are calling your husband, how is the children, how is it all okay, what about the breakfast, what about. So your mind, your emotions is always there, whatever, no matter what you are doing. You are maybe a holiday, you are maybe a overseas, but your attention will be there. So the similar attention the divine is asking, the personal form is asking. So once we achieve that, it is very easy to attain him or attain the divine form. So in other sense, he said, fix your mind in me alone and surrender your intellect to me. Mind is the thoughts. So put your thoughts in me, fix. Fix means you keep thinking about him. Every thought has to be about divine. And surrender your intellect to me. You don't worry about intellect, what will happen? Let you put a surrender your intellect into me. If we can do that, if we can do that, we don't need to think basically. Let him think. Why we want to worry? When you hire an expert, like for example, lawyer or doctor, you just you pay the bills. You surrender to them because they are a subject matter expert. So you just take, okay, I'm surrender. So we are not telling them to surrender, but we said, okay, I'll follow your advice. So similarly, why we cannot follow the divine advice? And this divine relationship, we no need to pay any fees. In fact, we will get a lot of rewards. So he's asking as a fee is, you just give me and fix a mind in me and surrender your intellect. You don't put a surrender yourself. You don't put surrender your love. You just ask intellect, because divine knows, Krishna knows that if you put intellect, if you surrender intellect, everything rest of the thing is taken care. What about mind? So mind, we have experiences and perception with the gross senses. So in a dream sense, we will see all this. That's why our mind can easily can feel it, and we can create a disturbance. And intellect, the knowledge we receive from the God or whoever it is, via a scriptures, a guru, as I said, a subject matter expert, when you go, when we surrender to them. So when we talking about it, the surrender part is very important. You have to believe, you need to have a shraddha. Remember, you need to have a faith. If you don't have a faith in your doctor, if you don't have a faith in your lawyer, then it's difficult. So you should have a trust in a doctor. You should have a trust with your lawyer. Then only it is you are opening up, and then your communication is very easy. Similarly, the faith and the shraddha with the guru, with the scriptures, then these are the like a agent of the God, agent of the divine. That is why you are routing and you are using your intellect. You don't question them, but you have a feeling, you have a understanding, you have a shraddha, you have a faith, you have a belief, you have a trust. So then it's a different way. Then you are already attending him. And that is the reason we say that Guru Bina Gnan na hoy. Without Guru, it is difficult to get a knowledge of the self. So Guru is the middleman between the divine and yourself. So it's revealed and talking about this explanation. So make it easy so that you will get a username and password to unlock the door within you. That is the Paramatma is sitting inside of you. The experience is sitting inside of you. So that we need to aware. So the God himself will come and savior of his devotees in this form. So he's giving us that opportunity. He's giving us this beautiful asking. There's only two things we need to surrender, and then that's it. This is what so-called his fees. Now, this is where it is getting more interesting, that Krishna says, Krishna create a question himself. If you are unable to fix your mind and steady in me, then what you will do? So he's asking the question. So let's say if you ask the question, yeah, now Krishna says that you give me, you fix your mind in me and you surrender intellect to me. Now you may ask the questions, oh, I have a difficulty to fix my mind in you. Then what should I do? So that exactly Krishna says, what you need to do, if you cannot fix your mind in me, then you remember me with devotion. How simple is this? How beautiful is this? If you cannot think 24/7, at least you remember Valentine Day. At least you remember my birthday. At least you remember our anniversary. So you feel good with devotion. Not only just remember and just send a message, but you mean it. But every day, Every day should be a Valentine Day. Every day should be a anniversary day. Every day should be the I love you day. So that is what is happening. The remember with the him with the devotion. So Krishna says that if you cannot fix your mind, you think it is very difficult for you, then you just remember, try to remember all the time with that same devotion, same love. Then I will be that. Now he's also telling what you should need to do in order to remember me. How beautiful is this? Then he says you need to do Abhyasa Yoga. Abhyasa Yoga is nothing but the practice. Abhyasa means practice. Practice to union with the God through repetitive practice. So practice makes perfect. We know that. So if we remember every time, now you will say how to remember. We need to remember every moment. How you remember your girlfriend, how you remember your boyfriend, how you remember your child. You never forget your child. So we need to remember the divine. So he said that if you cannot fix the mind in me steadily, then you just remember me with the same devotion, same love. So here Krishna is focusing more about the perfection of the sadhana, the spiritual practice. So we need to practice. Once you are practicing, you will automatically know how to remember things. You will never forget. Maybe initially you need a reminder or the alarm, or you can put all this sticker and the sticky notes on your fridge, but then later on you know it's become habit, and you will recognize in your mind. Now this thing also, if you remember a previous chapter, that Krishna says what you practice throughout your life, it will end up in the last breath when you are leaving this body. And at that time, if you are still remembering me, then you get me. So it is very easy. If you are practicing the whole life, we will master it. And when the times comes to leave this body, we can easily we can perform that task. We can perform that meditation. We can perform that remembrance. So then we get off. Automatically, we get him. Because what you perform the whole life, you will remember that in your automatically subconscious mind. So you will remember, and then this is how you will get him. So this is very simple thing he is asking. In fact, he is not demanding anything. He just say that if you cannot fix the mind, remember. Now getting more interesting. Some people say, come on, I can't remember you 24/7. How can I remember with you with the devotion? Imagine if I cannot remember, if I don't know how to practice to remember with you, then what? Do I have any options? Krishna says, yes. He is giving one more chance here. That if you have a difficulty to remember me with the devotion, still no problem. He says, then you try to work for me with devotional service. This is amazing thing. So you cannot remember, no problem. You come and work with me. You spend your time in your devotional service. This is how you will remember me. And once you remember me, you will get me. So this is very interesting concept, that work me. What you mean by work me? Work for me. He's not asking as an employer. He's not asking that you go and join any uh, so-called missionary or church or the maybe temple or anything, but devotional services. So you offer your services, whatever your skill, you are doing this. I remember we have trained and we have given in when we are in college, we need to go for the, we call seva, the service for our heart, because we are free, and then we just feel like, okay, now we know the computer, that time little bit of designing, so we just want to offer this. But and whatever their objective, that organization has the objective of maybe a designing flyer or website or whatever, so we just giving them, and we just have a more the best of our day, and with enjoyment, and with the we will get the food and everything is perfect. But we don't get money, we don't get the clients, but we are just offering our service. And that is like every Sunday we going to spend time, every weekend we are going to spend time, and we enjoy it. We work more than we work in our office. We don't get paid, but we have more enjoyment and we have more feeling and satisfaction when we work with the divine service. So this is another aspect of to get and work with the God, or work with the divine. So once you work with that, with him, in that sense, every moment what we are doing day to day life, you shall achieve this perfection. How to get perfection? Again, when you can put it this in a different way. Now you may think that, oh, I don't want to go to any church or temple or the mosque to do a devotional service. Fine, no problem. The morning you wake up and you are preparing a breakfast for your family, you are going for your work. Just imagine that you are cooking for the divine, and your children is the divine, your husband is the divine. When you go to the office, how you are treating a day-to-day activity, how you are preparing your body, how you are taking the bath, you are taking the shower, you are doing the exercise, you are doing the meditation, everything, every small thing you are doing day-to-day life, every day. Imagine that you are working for divine, you are preparing for the divine. This is where you will automatically you will learn, and you will become a more uh, remembering him 24 by 7. If any guest is going to come to your house, what you will do? Since morning you are planning, oh, someone is coming, or how many people coming, or we plan this way. All the guests, they like certain wine or certain food or something, so we go and buy, and that we put it together. We don't have this ice, we don't have this, so we preparing. How we are preparing, and whole family is working towards that so-called celebration, or the new year celebration, or the birthday celebration, or the wedding celebration. So similarly, we have to celebrate this breath. We need to celebrate this moment, that every moment the divine is coming in me, the divine is with me. I want to be ready to be pleased to me, to celebrate to me, to uh, enjoy with him, and to spend time with him. And whatever work I want to do it, by a way of cooking, by a way of food, everything I want to do it. Do you know that one of the classic devotional service example is, you will see in Ramayana. In Ramayana, there is one character called Sabri, the old lady, and is also very low caste, or very is like a tribal lady. So an uneducated lady, and she heard about Ram, that Ram got he's going to pass by this jungle, and he may pass by to my house. But when and how, and no, she doesn't know. Is may or may not. But she's always ready. From the moment she heard about this, that Ram may going to pass by this jungle, every morning, I'll wake up early in the morning, she go and pluck the berries, and she taste the berries, make sure it's all ripen and nice and clean up and ready. And then she clean up the path, and they put all the flowers and everything neat and clean. And she will be ready that, okay, today maybe the Rama will come and pass by. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, people is laughing that she gone crazy over. So many days, so many years going by that, and one day Ram is passing by, and then she feel the joy, she feel the crying, and Ram says, okay, I want to come. So then he comes, and not only that, Rama came, and she said, Ram, I know that you like the berries, and I already plucked for my, and I want to taste it, make sure that is all sweet, and then I want to give it to you. Can you imagine? She's tasting the food first and then giving to the divine. Now, if you see the person, that is why she's treating that, but there is a love, that I don't want to give my divine, my beloved, my Supreme Lord the bitter fruits. I want to give him the best fruits. So this is the love. And then as a ram, accept, no problem. You do whatever you want. So this is the devotional service. Can we do like this? Can we become like a Shabri every moment, every day that we want to prepare with our office? Someone is there. So you will don't have any stress. You don't have any anxiety. You will see a divine in your boss. You will see divine in the policeman. You will see divine in the traffic. You will see everywhere. So not only the, I can say that the Brahman form you will see manifested in everywhere in a human form. That is more fun. And that is the fastest way. You don't need to see the Krishna or the Jesus or the Muhammad or anything, but everyone you will see in anything in anywhere. That is where you can do a manifestation with your own divine love, with your own bhakti. So this is the beauty about this devotional service, because this is where we don't need any intellect, we don't need anything, we don't need any skill. You cannot say that, oh, I don't have any skill, I cannot offer. No, you someone something you definitely you know. And then if you don't know anything also, you can be there and then you just do a seva, you know. So this is what it is, the beauty about this. And once you are doing this, gradually your love for the God will manifest within your heart. Now this is where also so many time there are some friends, they, because we are so dedicated to go there and do our service, but some friends, they don't like to do this work, but they just, because of us, they are following. And slowly they fall in love, and they become more dedicated than us. This is how you fall in love. You never know what will happen. So this is how you just be there, you be participate in that activity, and automatically the magic will happen. You just come into that class, you just come into that meditation workshop, you just come into that yoga class or whatever, and then slowly it will happen. Be in that community, be in that satsang, be in that connection, then automatically the magics will start happening. And once we are there, and then your heart will manifest, and then you will see the success, and you will constantly thinking about him, and then you will remember, and then automatically you get him. So Krishna says, if you have a difficulty to remember me, then you work for me. Now guess what? Some people say, oh, I have a more difficulty, I cannot work for you, I have a lot of work. Then what? So Krishna says, no problem. Then you just do a renounce your fruit of your actions. That will also do. This is amazing. If you cannot work for me, you already have a lot of work. And I assume, and I can understand, Krishna says, maybe you are working as a boss, or you have your own business or property business. Let it be. But then do one thing. Whatever you do, your actions, don't worry about your fruits. Don't worry about results. Just renounce the results. Just focus on the actions and offer the results to me. Let me decide a results for you based on your actions. So you focus your exam. Now, how much marks to be given, let me decide. If we can do that, also okay, he says. I think this is the best the divine can give us. So many options. And the best way, he don't say that you have to do this. Any of this you can do based on your job, based on your work, based on your culture, based on your likes, based on your awareness. You can just do that. This is the best part. So you do your actions. This is where the karma yoga concept. So you do your karma, you do your actions, the fruits, the results, you don't have attached with that. You just renounce within me. Be the situated in yourself, just to be in that, and just focus in your actions. Once you do that, automatically you will purify your gunas. You will purify your mind, and you're going beyond the gunas. This is going to happen because you don't worry about the work. So in that, I will summarize again. So you can choose the path. Now we have options. So you can say this is the Valentine Day gift. I can say that. We have 4 options and we can choose whatever way we want it. First, if you can surrender your intellect and mind in divine, fine. If you cannot, then remember him. If we cannot remember with devotion, we work for him. Still we don't have a difficulty to work with the devotions, then we have an option of renounce the fruits of our actions. So we can choose any of this and we can work in that direction towards our devotion to the Shraddha, to the faith, and with that love, then we can attain him. Now, so in that sense, a lot of people do that. Maybe let's say they choose the path of remembering or the, let's say, working for him, or do actions without any fruits or the results to be considered. And Krishna asked that you need to do practice, but majority time we don't know how to do practice. Or when we are doing the practice, we are doing rituals. In the name of practice, we are doing rituals. We just come to 9 o'clock, we just immediately do a sun salutation or pranayama or breathing and everything. And 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 hour finish and case closed, and we rush to the another job. So this become a task. Our practice is become one of the tasks. So this is where the Krishna says is like a mechanical practice. We should be come out of this mechanical practice. It is the same thing when you say I love you, but you don't mean it. If you really love, if you really have a feeling, you don't need to say I love you. By looking at the person's eye, the other person will already feel your love. Simple as that. Or by seeing yourself in the smile and that experience, automatically the other person can feel it. But no matter if you want to tell something or anything, so try to be enough with the feeling. So the practice also has to be with the essence. So we need to be aware. Don't just do the sake of doing it in terms of meditation, in terms of yoga practice, or in terms of pranayama practice. Because in the name of the practice, in the name of the pranayama, in the name of the service itself, the devotional service, in the name of the kirtan, in the name of the bhajan, we are doing a mechanical practice. We are entertaining the mind. We are filling the checkbox. Yes, I have done kirtan, I have done bhakti, I have done gnana yoga, I have done this. So no, we no need to entertain the mind. We need to have the desire to purify the mind. So that is what we need to do with the real practice, one step at a time, with hunger, with the divine, with the guidance, with the company. All these things we need to do. Once you have that practice, then only it is very easy to cultivate the spiritual knowledge that can help. And if you have that knowledge, sometimes the knowledge also cannot purify your heart. So in order to purify the heart, you need to do a meditation. You need to master your mind. You need to master your emotions. You need to engage your mind into meditation. This is what Krishna says. So these are the process you need to follow. If you cannot find this, so you need to go and correct it first. If you don't understand, if you just practice the sake of practice in a meditation or any other kriya, whatever you learn, and it makes no sense, because if you don't have the mastery over the mind, then it's useless. Then whatever we do makes no sense. So understand that mastery, understand that emotions. If your heart is not pure, then you no need to go further. And once you know the renunciation of the fruits of your actions, once you master that, then you will develop the quality of the detachment. You know how to detach. You know how to detach from this material world, and you know how to attach with this divine. You know how to attach with the spirituality. So we need to aware when to attach, when to detach. And this is the true renunciation. It is happening. Now finally, Krishna talk about qualities of the devotees. This is what I was talking about, the characteristics of the devotees. Again, he is already qualified, or that these are the qualities and these are the best qualities. So let's see what are the qualities. So 10 qualities he mentioned, which is very easy, not that difficult. First, he says the devotees has to be free from the malice towards all the living beings. We should have the love for all the beings, the living beings. You should not have any prejudices. We should not have any anger or fear or any jealousy and hatred about that. We should have a friendly and compassionate environment with everything what we live in this society, not only with the humans, but everywhere, whatever we see, it has to be very friendly. Also, he said about the free from the attachment, the possession of this possessions and the egoism. So this is where it is getting little tricky, because sometimes certain devotees get power and that they got the feel of it and they're going. So still they are not completely purified with the mind and with the heart. It is very easy to fall in the with the ego, that oh, or the attached with the physical form of the body, or attached with the knowledge, oh, I know better than you, or don't teach me, or I am the best devotees amongst anyone because I have. So if you see, you we have experienced this. If you go to the see any temple or any church or something, and suddenly you go and then you will see that those old people or those who are doing offering their devotional service or the voluntary service from few years, and they are like, I am the authorized, you are new, you don't know. So this is where there is the ego is coming in, subtle ego. Sometimes they are aware, sometimes they are not aware. So we need to be very aware that as a true devotees, we should not have any possession about any knowledge, about skill, about any attachment about that. Equiposed in happiness and the distress. So if you have a happy news or happiness, also we have to be very balanced, or anything distress. So with any bad news or any other issues what you see in a physical form or emotional form, we have to be very balanced. So that's why we call about the sthit pragna situation, that you are balanced. If you hear about you are striking the jackpot, also your emotions or your day-to-day life, it won't be disturbed, it won't be changed. Similarly, you become bankrupt, also there will be the same. So in any form you will be stable. As a true devotee, this is the true rules. So if you see, because there is a faith, there is a love is there, that is the priority, and that makes you stronger and less fearful. Ever forgiving. The true devotees is always forgiving. They don't take any revenge. Forget about the revenge. There is no dictionary word in that for revenge in the devotees dictionary. So forgiving, anything forgiving by taking the object, or the any someone has done any insult or the inferiority or anything behavior or anything, you don't bother about it basically. So true devotees has to understand and content. So always has to be contented. Whatever you get it, whatever in your situations, we have to be contented without anything. We need to steadily united in me with the devotions. So the true devotees is always united with the divine, with the true devotions. It's the same thing like how the wife is having the true love and then always thinking about the husband or the boyfriend. That is how we need to be united with the divine. Self-control, very disciplined, very important, very stable, that can take any decisions, and very stabilized in the emotions, not be worried and destabilized with any goods and bads. Firm in the conviction. So it has the devotees has a strong conviction of having that thread of love, having that thread, strong thread is connecting through the devotion with the divine. That my bhakti, I have a trust in my bhakti, I have a conviction like a Prahlad, that he knows that I can see and my God will come anytime and I can feel it. So that is a strong conviction that you know. So that is only possible with the true love and with the strong devotion. Dedicated in me and mind, me in mind and intellect. So the devotees, true devotees, he can able to dedicate and surrender the mind and intellect to the Krishna. So these are the qualities of the devotees that is mentioned in chapter 12 to 20. Now further he is also explaining the glorious quality of the devotees. Now this is where he's like, if you have this quality, you are very dear to me, he says that. Okay, so let's see what are they. He says, not a source of the annoyance to anyone. So there is no source. You will go beyond yourself. You go beyond your locality. You go beyond your culture. You go beyond your uh, religion. You go beyond your country. You will see the human. You will see everyone is different. Everyone is the same. So that is where you will see that the true divinity, the true devotees, they doesn't have any issues. Some people has a proud of their country or proud of their knowledge, or they are very, yes, you if you have a proud of your country and all this, okay, but it's some people has mentioned in their teachings or anything that this is the best, rest is not good, or we are the above of the others and all this. So you will try to have that somehow, that ego thing, or that we are the best kind of thing. So we need to be aware that everyone, as a true devotees, are the best qualities of the devotees. They understand that everyone has the same, and then you give that same importance and awareness. Not agitated by anyone. This is very interesting. You don't agitated or disturbed by that anyone. Now this is tricky for us in this day and age, because we will agitated, we will disturb, we will be angry by our boss, sometimes our own family members, sometimes our friends, sometimes simple as we go to the supermarket and then we agitated by the service they provide, or they don't listen to us. So this is where we need to be learn that we should not be agitated by anyone. We should always be a pleasant, we always should be a calm and responsive enough. Then you will see the different love. They will feel also the love, they will feel your presence also, they will feel your aura also. So this is where Krishna says that those who are not agitated by anyone, that is very dear to me. Equal in pleasure and pain. So no matter how much pleasure you have, of material pleasure, or you have a good condition, or you are in a pain, in a both side or extreme pain, you are equal. You don't lose the focus. You don't your priority for the bhakti is unstable, and you are equal. Your mindset is equal, your emotion is equal, your dedication is equal. So it's the same thing when you marry your boyfriend. Let's say he's a millionaire. Now some reason something happens and that the business collapse, and then he become a bankrupt, and you have a difficulty to eat. You have to sell everything off. Still you are with him because you love him. You don't love the surroundings, you don't love around the property or the other material world. But not everyone can do that. Sometimes some people is, they just disappear. There are so many friends, or they just disappear when you have a bad time. So we need to be aware about when you have a pleasure or when you have a pain, both side, both way. We have to be very equal. That is the true devotees. Free from the fear and anxiety. This is very, very important. Again, this we have a difficulty to overcome this. So we need to work on this. That's why we can help our meditation, our talk, free from the fear and anxiety. So indirectly Krishna saying that you have to live in present. Fear will lead from the past, anxiety will lead from the future. So if the devotees live in the present, you will never have a fear, you will never have a anxiety. So try to live in the present, try to live in the moment, try to enjoy the devotion and the love of the divine in this moment. Don't care about anyone else. Like a Narsi Mehta used to do that. He don't bother about, he wants to marry his daughter when he doesn't have money, he doesn't know how to do all these things, and he was so let go thing, and he has a true devotees devotion in the Krishna that he will take care as a friend, and then somehow something will help come and everything. So but the family member has that anxiety that this guy is gone crazy and he still not understand. So something like that. So we need to be, we live in this moment, that we should not have any anxiety, because anxiety or the worry or the stress, that thing, the things that haven't happened yet, why to worry about in the present, and we destroy the present. So try to live in the moment, and this is the most important thing we can do to become nearest to and dearest to the divine. and i- and we need to work on that. And fear, we have a fear of unknown, we have a fear of past, we have a fear of let go. So this is where we stuck into the past. So we have a lot of om meditation, or that chakra meditation. We have that cyclic meditation can help to work with that fear and that anxiety. So we need to master that, and then we can be ready with the true devotion. Indifferent to the worldly gain, all the worldly, the material world, if you can get any gain, someone will give you the gift of the house, or the promotion, but you won't be different. Your lifestyle will be the same. Tomorrow you hit the $1 billion, or you need a jackpot, you win a jackpot, but that won't give you any dramatic change. You are always there, it won't be affected. So we no need to be, it has to be same as a true devotee, and your focus has to be same, and then the amount of love, amount of effort, it has to be the same, externally and internally pure. So this is where he talk about internally, from your heart, from inside your body, you should be clean, you should be pure. So that's why we perform the kriya, we perform the all the different, the 6 kriyas. And outside we can take bath, we can do this, we can clean it. We know how to clean outside, we know how to become pure outside, we know how to so-called perform the hygiene regimes from the outside externally, but we don't know how to internally. Not only that using the yogi kriyas, but what about your jealousy, what about our hatred, what about our anger, what about our emotions, the fear. This is where we need to clean, this is where we need to become a pure. So Krishna says that you become a pure externally, internally. Cleanliness is a godliness, so we need to be clean outside as well as inside. So this is where we need to be aware. And very interestingly, he said, be skillful. He loved skillful devotees. Now, what do you mean by the skillful devotees? That doesn't mean that you should know any skill in order to become a favorite to the divine. But you have to have that hunger. You need to have that attitude towards the divine, so that I can learn the new skill to make my divine happy, to make my divine, and I want to offer whatever the best thing I can learn from it. I would like to share here one of the interesting uh, my life experience. As I discussed earlier, my grandmother's sister, she was uneducated. She doesn't know any skill, literally, including she doesn't know how to cook. But she have a strong desire and strong devotion with his master, his guru. Not only she learn cooking because she has a habit that I want to cook for my guru. So she learn cooking, and she's the best cook, and she offer the first food to him, and then she used to eat, and then she wants to read the poems and bhajans. So she start learning, educating the ABCD and in Hindi. Forget about English, but in Hindi. And then she picked up the Hindi language. Not only she managed to read, but she can communicate in a broken language. And then she managed to communicate and managed to read the bhajan. And then the best part, the times go up, and then the satsang and everything comes in English. So she's keep listening. So there is a so love and so much to do it. So she is learning and sharpening the skill in order to serve the divine, serve his guru, serve her guru. So this is where she is developing the skillfulness. So we should know, and in that sense, and when I used to go, and then I realized that how she's making so much progress, that purely the love with the divine, and no one is teaching her. And those days there is no internet, by the way, there is no teacher. It's like a self-taught. So this is where the love is teaching you all the knowledge. And today we have a lot of access of, you just need a Wi-Fi, and you can do wonderful, you can learn any skill. You learn a music online, you can do cooking online, nowadays yoga, and we are doing bhakti yoga, everything you can do online. So we can develop 101 skill online, but for who? Very important. Not for me, not for us, not for your family, but for the divine. So we need to have that hunger. We need to have that love, that I want to do it for my divine. I need to do it for my guru. I need to do it for my dear one. And that is why we need to follow that. So we need to be skillful that way, without any cares. We should not bother about who will cares, what will happen. So this is where we need to be aware. Now, this is also, we should not have any, we should not bother about who will say what. And untroubled, we should not be troubled by any other day-to-day life, any activity, and we should not invited any trouble. So we need to be very aware what we want to do, so that we will be focused in our devotion. So we don't want to invite unnecessary a problem, free from the selfishness, and in all undertakings. So we should be thinking all about others. We should think all the time with the divine. We should not think about ourselves, because when you think about others, we are already included that. So we need to have that undertakings. So Krishna says all these qualities is very dear to me. Now, not only that, he give another 13 characteristics or qualities, more defining. So neither they are rejoicing, the true devotees, they neither rejoice in the mundane pleasure, nor the despair in the worldly sorrow. So again, if you day-to-day life, when you have any pleasure or sorrow or the happiness, you don't get affected, and you don't get any feel about any loss or gain or whatever happens in your money, a little bit loss or little bit gain. You don't count dollar and cents when you talk about a devotion. When you talk about this, renounce both good and evil actions. So if you have any bad habits, so if you have any good habits, so you renounce that immediately, in a better way of that any obstacles that is creating in your devotions, and give your full devotion to that divine, alike the friend and foe. So you should not have any difference between your friend or any kind of the enemy or the other people. So you should treat everyone same. So we need to be aware and equip yourself with the honor and dishonor. So you should not be, if you are getting any prize or you can be honored, then also you will be the similar, or you don't get any honor, or you will insulted, or you can get a dishonor by some people or some situation, some organization. You have to go beyond that. So these are the qualities we have a difficulty nowadays to accept it or to become that. So we need to work on that, because we always unlikely we like to be aware about the status, aware about this acceptance and what will happen, and I need to be recognized. All these things we need to go beyond that. The true devotees don't bother about and focus and walking towards that true devotions, free from the unfavorable association. So this is where it talk about a kusang. So we get rid of the kusang, that we should have is a accompany. So instead of, we need to have a satsang, so company of the truth. So we need to have the community, the like-minded people. We need to be there, and we need to be discussed. We need to be in a form a group. rather than you go and company, they don't talk about, they can talk about a material thing, we did talk about a different thing that is not. So that is why you don't put yourself in the unfavorable association. So understand, and you have to be very careful that no one can disturb your devotion, so you don't invite unnecessary problem. Take praise and reproach alike. So even someone praise you, someone will give you any kind of unpleasurable things, you should be, don't be affected, and don't be get any pride that, oh wow, they like me, or they like my talk, or they like my this. No, you just do with the pure heart, with the pure devotion. Now you get by liked by the people or liked by the devotees or anything, we don't need to care about it. So we just need to focus what we need to do it. Given to the silent contemplation. So it's the same like we give the example of the crow and the swan. The crow is always be, you will find and noisy in and attract by the dustbin and that dustbin pit, you know, the garbage pit. And then the swan is always attracted, and you will find in the more calm and serene lake. So you need to have that contemplation, you need to have that silent contemplation, that what it is attracting and where you need to go. You don't need to be discussed about, you don't need to be published about, you don't need to be post in Instagram, you don't need to be in a social media that you, what you are doing, what you should do, and you don't be a act like that. So you just becomes client and act behind the scene. We don't need to show off. So basically this is what we need to learn in this day and age as well. Content with the whatever comes in your way. So as long as be just comfortable, today you have money, today you have this phone, that today you have this luxury of talking, is fine. Tomorrow you don't have, also fine, as long as, so don't worry about all this nitty gritty about things. So when you have the less item, you will have more content. Simple as that. This is where, if you remember, we used to have audio cassettes, and it has only 5 to 7 to 10 songs, one side A and side B. And that song we really appreciate it, and we listening, we memorizing, we are keep hearing, and we are enjoying that song like anyone else. Now in the small iPod or MP3 player, or in our phone itself, we have thousands of songs, more than 10,000 songs, and we don't have time to listen one song. And if even though we listen the one song, we don't appreciate that song the way we used to appreciate. So that's why the contentment won't come with that physical object or more the things. If I have more money, if I have more shirts, if I have more shoes, if I have more relationship, then I will be happy. No, the contentment comes with less things, and you enjoy and you have that things. So understand that concept. With money, without money, you will be content. Without any attachment to the place and residence. You should not have any attachment with the place or the country or with your house. So that's why we say yogi chalta bala. Yogi prefer traveling, because the moment he's stuck, he will fall in love with that place. So before he fall in love and get attachment, he supposed to move to the another place and come back. So that's why without any attachment, we need to do that movement. And we need to behave, we need to be understand that this planet earth also, we are like a tourist. We are here for some time and we are going to go. So why to waste time in to buy the house or whatever this for the 30 years and 40 years, and we pay the mortgage? Yes, we need to have a house, we need to have this, but try to be narrow down your requirement. We need to have a small house, you can easily take care, you have a very less money to spend, less mortgage, and you enjoy. So there's no point to have more and then we have a busy to doing and managing more. So to become smart, and it is easy to, when we went to move one house to another house, one planet to another planet, one life to another life, we need to know how to do the smooth transition. So the more we have developing the attachment, we will have issues with this body, with this relationship, with this place, with this possession what we have. So we need to be taken care of that. And finally, the intellect firmly fixed on me. This is also very difficult. So this last slide is we have to work on it. If I am not wrong, but nowadays these are the things majority of us we have a challenge. Intellect is one of them. We become smart and we have a difficulty to surrender our intellect. We need to surrender our uh, intellect and fixed on the divine. So the only way is to surrender is to put your heart first. When you put heart first, then the intellect has no say, no rights to do that. And finally, Krishna says the path of spirituality is bhakti. Those who make the Supreme Lord as their goal cultivate the devotion with the great Shraddha. Inspired with their virtues, such devotees are the dear to the God. So here again he comprised and then he put it into this. So we should know our goal very well, what and why, what we are doing with the true devotion, with the great faith, Shraddha, and we need to develop all the virtues, all the characteristics, and inspired by that with ourselves as well as by surroundings, and then we are already qualified and dear to that God. So this is all about Bhakti Yoga. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Hi, Prashant.
Yeah, hi.
I I was just thinking when you were talking about saying don't invite unnecessary problems into your life so that it's not getting in the way of your devotion. What if you did something, you invited this thing into your life thinking it was going to be a good thing, but it turns out to be a problem?
Yeah.
Then what to do, because you don't want to give up, you don't want to let people down, you don't want to
So
all along those lines. But you realize, this is not what I expected, and it gets in the way.
yeah, so no worries. Again, this is where the law of karma also play a role. Okay, I don't want to ask what is the problem, but I want to give one example.
I'll tell you later.
You married 20 years ago. That time you don't know all this about. So you married, you have a children. Now you realize maybe, for example, that why should I marry? If I know this, talk about it, or if I know the spirituality, I never married. Or I don't want to invite. Now I have a children, I have to take care of the children. I wish if I can go back. No, we should not think like that. I'm just giving this example, by the way. It's nothing to do with personal thing, but people may think this. Some student already asked me this. So this is one kind of example that we already invited so-called problem, but it's not a problem. It's okay. Sometimes we see that is obstacle. The obstacle is not a problem, and by the way, that is not an obstacle. Also, that is also is our own karma, and this is how we came and connect with ourselves by some reason to pay back the dues with that person, with that children. So we need to just wait. If you can change that, it's fine, into your favor. If you cannot change, just stay as it is. Try to be as nice as possible and focus what you can do and what you can change. Believe me, when you focus in yourself, your aura, your energy will become so powerful that automatically what is bothering you or create obstacles, it will automatically dissolve or going away. I have that experience by some way or other way. So I think you focus again your own ways and your practice, and so-called all obstacles, all issues, or those who are creating issues, or those you have knowingly, unknowingly invited, will dissolve. Make
Okay.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? So this chapter, in a way, is you see, is not that complicated. In fact, this is the easiest to understand, to feel it, if you think that as from the heart. But if you try to catch and contemplate, then you have a difficulty. Okay, so we will see how we can develop the practice, and we will focus more about the different sutras for that. But let's stop for a while, and then next week we will focus on more the 13th chapter, what Krishna is further needs to say to Arjun. And till then, enjoy your life, and again, happy Valentine's Day, and enjoy. Okay, with your own personal divine, personal form, whoever you think that is your Valentine. So you enjoy rest of your day.
Happy
Yeah.
Valentine's
Okay.
Day, Prashant.
Okay, thank you. Okay, see you there.